Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we dive into your favorite TV shows and movies. I'm Diana, and today we are talking about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, Episode 2. Renee is back. Hi, Renee. How's it going?
Hello. It's going great. I'm so excited about this episode. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. And yes, I'm so excited to dig into talking about Michonne's journey. But before we do that, I want to get to our question of the day. And we saw Aiden, a new friend of Michonne's, who is pregnant. And she had this craving for honey. So the question of the day is, did you have any cravings while you were pregnant, and what were they?
Yes, I have 3 children, and I had specific ones for each child. So my first one, it was Taco Bell taco salad. With the shell and everything. I had
yes.
There was a Taco Bell down the street, so it was perfect. Except that I gained a lot of weight. But my son, I had to have Pizza Hut breadsticks with pizza sauce.
Oh my gosh, so specific.
I know, seriously, it was crazy. And then my youngest, it was whole. I had to have the whole dill pickles, and they had to be the whole ones. And I would eat them like jars full at like too many pickles.
So did any of your kids end up liking those things by chance?
My son loves pizza.
The one that you ate?
The pizzas. Yeah, okay. He was my pizza stick kid. Yeah, so he loves pizza. My youngest hates
That's kind of hard not to like, though, right?
Yeah. But the pickle, that my youngest was the pickles, and she hates pickles.
She's, I had enough, Mom. I don't want any more.
No more. And then I guess my oldest daughter, I'm pretty sure she likes taco salads.
I didn't have anything really specific, except for I do recall wanting iced, like ice with Hawaiian punch. Don't ask me why. Like the regular Hawaiian punch poured into that ice, and just I had to drink it like ice cold and eat that little ice. That's really all I remember. And also I drank a lot of root beer because it didn't have caffeine in it. Because I was trying to stay away from caffeine. So those are the only 2 things that I can think of that I really had to have, that Hawaiian punch. And so, but no specific food that I can think of. I kept thinking, do I want ice cream and pickles? No.
Yeah.
That's the old,
the old
craving that was out there. So it was kind of interesting to see Aiden wanting this honey, and her husband, her boyfriend, her partner, however he was distinguished, wanting to go get that for her. So anyway, friends out there, if you had any cravings during your pregnancy, or if your partner had any cravings during your pregnancy, we would love to know that. You can comment here on YouTube or on any of our social media at Screens in Focus. All the links are on our website at screensinfocus.com, because we would love to know those crazy, bizarre cravings that you have. All right, we're going to get to it. Is there any news that you have, Renee?
Yeah, I can't think of anything new. I think right now it's kind of quiet.
Well, I think that we can say, and if you're on social media, you probably saw it or get any news outlet information, is that the debut or the premiere of the first episode was the highest ranking since 2018 for AMC, I believe. Does that sound about right? What you heard?
So. Yeah, I think that was the year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, yes, I knew it. Yeah. I knew everybody was going to tune in. So that was great. That was great to see. Oh, did you see? I shared this on my story because it was hilarious to me. Actually, I believe it's the guy who plays Bailey. He made like a reel where he
did several. Yeah, he did several.
Where he is walking with a woman, and it's as if they're dating, and he says, "Hey, my favorite show is tonight, The Walking Dead." And she goes, "Is that show still on?" And he says, I don't know, it just makes me laugh so hard, because it's just totally any of us who love The Walking Dead. It's like, do you know that show's #1 on AMC? And that's not just a show. That's my lifestyle, or it's a lifestyle, or something to that effect. It's so funny. It's so funny. I sent
Yeah,
it to
he
my
did.
sons. I put it on my story. What were you going to say?
That's Andrew Bachelor because he's
Yeah.
King Bot is his other name
Yes.
that he goes by and stuff because he's a comedian and all the internet
Yeah.
personality and all this stuff. But anyway, there were several because there was another one that he did where him and a guy are like hunting and they find this zombie coming at them and they're like, oh wait, is it his, oh no, this is a guy, this guy, dude, you need help kind of thing. They shoot him and then they find out it was a scene in a film or a show or something and they killed the zombie, but it was an actor. And so they ran and whatever, but it
Oh
was,
my
they were
gosh.
just really funny. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun watching those.
Yeah. Well, now I'm following him because that was
Yeah.
hysterical to me. And I thought, I got to follow him.
Yeah.
So it was great. So that was a fun thing today that I saw. The only other news I want to say is the Oscars are coming Sunday, March 10th, and we put out a podcast on the Oscars, so you can go look for that. We talk about all the 10 nominees. It's a fun episode, and I just love so many of the movies and performances, so you could check that out. All right, we're going to get to it. So in episode 2, we follow Michonne's post Rick journey with new friends Aiden, Bailey, and Nat. They face challenges like the chlorine gas and a tough year of survival. And there's an emotional climax that comes with Michonne reuniting with Rick as tragedy strikes. And to top it off, we see a familiar face that emerges at the end of the episode, which of course is Jadis. So let's dive into this episode. I want to know, what were your overall thoughts on the episode?
It was a very different episode than Rick's, which I really loved because, we were so, Rick's was pretty, I don't know, intense, I guess.
Traumatic.
Yeah.
Well,
There was,
this could be too, but yeah.
but they're very different. I thought, it was very emotionally charged. This one was lots of highs and lows. I loved seeing, we picked up right where she met Bailey and Aiden, and then we got to see that she went to their community.
Yeah.
So it was, we always wanted to know who was that caravan, so it was really
Yeah.
interesting to meet some of those people, see kind of the things they do and all of that. So that was really interesting and stuff. But yeah, it was really, gut wrenching to watch Michonne in certain parts of this, because she's always so strong and things like that. And then, yeah, of course, the Jadis, I didn't think we'd see her yet. Just like we didn't think we'd see Rick and Michonne reunite. We didn't think we'd see Jadis already. So that was exciting to see her. And I know we'll discuss that in more detail a little bit here. And that was a pretty interesting scene.
Yes.
So overall, yeah. And then of course their reunion to get to see more of that then this time, like we hoped that it wouldn't just cut to black again.
Exactly.
So, it was good to see that again. I think I was more emotional the second time, even if I knew it was coming. I think I was all crying and
Aww.
So yeah, it's another good one.
Yeah, it was a really good episode. It just filled in so much of where Michonne was. And yes, I was thrilled that we were able to see past their reunion like we had hoped. And I feel like it's really giving us a lot of what we want. We want to see. And I love new characters, and I love new characters that we really like a lot. Hate losing them though, because that was tough.
Yeah.
And just seeing Michonne and just the person that she is, and just seeing her again, because I know we always talk about Rick. Rick's been gone this long. We haven't seen him in this long, which yes, so true. And, all of that, but I miss Michonne also. And it's been a long time, alongside with Rick being gone. So it was just really good to see her story, really good to see where she's been. And yes, that they filled in, they didn't leave us hanging with what we had when we had last seen her, because that horde that we saw, I really wanted to know what that meant. So the fact that they showed us what that was, I'm really happy that they didn't leave us hanging and we weren't wondering, what was that all about? So anyway, what was a highlight or a theme or anything that really stood out to you in this episode?
Well, I was just really intrigued by Nat. I just thought he was extraordinary. I've read several interviews with the actor Matthew Jeffers, and I just he just, that character, you know, a lot of times when we meet these new characters, they have such tragic backstories. And though he does, his starts that way, but then, you know, his stepdad did all this stuff for him to,
Yeah.
you know, kind of not forcefully, but steer him into a better use of his resources. So I just loved his whole character, everything about that. But I really loved that I guess like a highlight for me was him being with Michonne. And this is what the actor, he used this quote, and I wanted to use it to keep her fire going. And I loved that because that's what she needed. But he was the one she needed to be there with her during that time when she had that moment. She's just we always see her so strong and collected and, you know, just together all the time. I mean, we've seen her break down a few times, but mostly she is strong and just goes and goes. But I think that finally that thought hit her that Rick could be dead. And that's, you know, when she broke down. And I think, I know just from the reaction, just from how, she was affected. I wonder if that's the first time she lost hope that he was alive, just because of how she was just sobbing, you know, and she couldn't even control it, you know?
Yeah.
So I just loved that he was there with her because she could have been alone when that happened. And that would have been horrible. I mean, who knows what could have happened, you know? She could be like we saw Rick last week, you know, he was in some pretty low spots. So I just loved that Nat was the person who needed to be with her during that time. And it just really touched, I don't know, something in me when I was watching that. Just the connection that they had.
Yes,
it was just so,
it
that
was.
just really stuck out.
You're changing my mind. But I'll get to their relationship as we talk about their characters. I think for me, when I was thinking about this, what stood out was Michonne being the same person that we remember her being. Like that hasn't changed. What we saw in Rick on the first episode, we've seen Rick change a lot. And not like for the good or the worse. It's just that he just changes. He evolves as a person and how he leads and what he does and all of that. But Michonne, I felt her to be so solid in who we know who she is. The type of it gives me chills even thinking about it right now, because we've seen her with Andrea and she befriends Andrea and she takes her with her. And so she's always been this person who doesn't leave people behind. And so at least, you know, that she knows she shouldn't leave behind, but she's just so strong. She's so determined and she's so vulnerable too. So I love that she's all those things. And she's still all those things. Like this episode didn't reveal a different aspect of her. It just strengthened what we knew about her already. And so I think that was, you know, what I saw in this episode about Michonne and that I love. So, and also her badassery, because she was on that horse and she's like, you know, I'm going to go get my man. And I am going, and she's like gallops toward that horde. I'm like, what's she doing? What's she doing? How's she going to get out of this? What's she going to do? And she, you know, fires the rocket launcher, but it kind of peters out at first, I believe. And then that gas man, I think, is walking toward her. It's just so funny. And then I know when she does blow it up, all the walkers that went it made me laugh. I laughed both times because they went flying. And then she sees it coming toward her and then it knocks her off the horse. It was just funny. It was a pretty good she's just too cool. Yeah. Too cool. So I love her. So
and I love that Nat made her armor too. I thought that was cool.
Yes.
That he fashioned her armor and stuff.
Well, and then she says that, right? Because he's all, we got to get you up. We got to, you know.
Here, I need your size or something. Measure you. Yeah, measure you, I think he says. And she's like, measure me?
Yeah. What are you doing? And then she has this armor on that he has made for her. I love how they explain everything, right? Yeah. It's not all of a sudden she just puts it on and is heading off with it. So the fact that this guy is so, he has so many talents. So let's go into the characters as we're talking about them already. Tell me what you think about them, either Michonne or the new characters that she meets.
Well, of course, I'll go back to Nat first because I thought he was just a kind of a breath of fresh air in a way, which I guess just because he's genuine and he speaks his mind, he just says, sometimes he says too much, he starts talking about Rick. So Rick did this and this, and Bailey's like, dude, and she's like, what he said, or he says, tread lightly or something. And she's like, what he said, because he just kind of says stuff. But,
Yeah.
Hearing his story and things, that was interesting, of course, about his, childhood and growing up. But he claims not to be fond of many people, but the ones that he is fond of, he will literally die for. I mean, he would do anything to see them. He was so angry with Elle because she wouldn't go back and get her sister.
Her
She
sister.
was like, what? He was so angry about that, her sister, his friends, and all that, so he's just very passionate about the people. It might not be a big group, but the ones that he does, he's there for them. So I just love that loyalty and stuff. And then I love that we got to see Bailey and Aiden again, because we always saw he hurt his ankle and there's our people leaving us. That's all we saw. And it's like, who are these people? So yeah, it was really neat to learn more about them and everything. And even though, again, it's tragic to lose all of those people in one episode, which
right.
I mean, it's just, I just don't understand how they keep doing that, in the stories. And I'm sure there's a reason for it, whatever, but it's very cruel to get us excited about these characters.
I know.
From us so quickly.
I know.
And then of course, Michonne, her just never wavering hope of finding Rick. She just, everybody kept, oh, he's not there. She's like, yeah, he is. He's Rick. You don't know Rick,
right.
And she knew.
Yes.
And she had the moment where she was, had a little breakdown, which after this many years and things, who wouldn't? I would have done that a long time ago. But yeah, so it was really interesting, just like you said, to see her very much like what we know her as, and it was good to see that, because that's the Michonne we want to see.
Yeah. She's like so determined. There are so many obstacles, and it's easy to want to go back for your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have that pulling on you. And that is what her conflict is too, right? Because she keeps trying to reach Judith on the walkie-talkie. What is she calling Judith? She's calling her something else.
I was going to look it up. It's their code names, and I couldn't remember. I forgot to look it up.
That's right.
And
the code names. I do remember that now.
I turned on the caption, and I'm like, that's not what whatever they had in the captioning
was wrong.
It was wrong, but I can't remember what it was, and it has a significance and everything, because they called the brave man and then the little brave man. And then, I'll need to look that up, because I can't remember what it was and what the significance it was.
I do remember now that as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, they gave each other code names. That's what it was, because she kept calling her that. I knew she was talking to Judith, but I thought, wait, what is she calling her? And it doesn't sound close to Judith and such. So
like that they made it realistic that finally she's far enough away she cannot, because it seems like Fear of the Walking Dead, they could go all over the country and talk on their walkies, And so it was good that they made it realistic that, okay, she's this far away now, she should not be able to contact her on these walkies, So I did appreciate that piece of it.
I just wasn't sure of her code name. So thank you for clarifying that. But because you can easily say, I need to be a mom, because she knows her children are there. So she knows that they need her, and that's probably already pulling on her. So it's, and she's, it's been all these years, and is Rick really there? Although I'm like, go find him. You cannot give up this hope. You've been so far, and we all know he's alive. So we're like, go get him. You can't give up this, this determination to go find him. But we see them, the CRM drop that chlorine gas on them, which was, I just can't believe, it just goes to show you the lengths that these people go to, just offing whoever they see in the area. I guess I didn't realize they were just killing off all kinds of people, no matter, I know they were killing off whole communities, but I was just surprised that they would go through the efforts of just finding a little small group of people and doing that to them. And then that one walker turned really quick and started going toward Michonne. I got scared for them for a little bit, because it was hard to see in that gas.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was that was a long time for her and Nat to recover
Yeah, it was months
from.
because the seasons were changing and yeah.
Yeah, which I thought
Mhm.
it was kind of cool. They had that,
Yeah,
and they would show
yeah, no, because yeah, how else would we know?
yeah, the time that passed
Mhm.
and her working out,
Yeah.
trying to get stronger and stronger. And I felt bad that Aiden, was with child and she
Mhm.
did die. Cause that's what made me think, okay, maybe she won't die because she's going
Yeah.
to have a baby. Or like maybe they could have sent them off to
Yeah.
Alexandria. Uh, but it just didn't work out for those two. So
Mhm.
at least they got to turn into some good walkers.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to play a part in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, like you had mentioned, Elle, her sister, I I just don't even understand the meaning of her sister being that way. I'm thinking, how is this gonna play out? Why is her
Mhm.
sister, she doesn't even name her sister first. She says Bailey first for
Mhm.
saving him. Oh, and my sister too.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Okay. Yeah. So it'll be
you
interesting
know,
to see the rest of that group again because, that chunk of them went off with them and they're all dead with the chlorine gas, but will we see the rest of them again, I wonder?
I wonder. That's
Yeah, if
why
they'll
I
come.
wonder if they
Mhm.
gave her a significant personality trait
Mhm.
that this woman has.
Yeah.
Will we see her again? And I also thought it was interesting that Michonne used that name as her sister
Mhm.
in the interrogation. I'm like, oh, okay. But of course, she has to grasp at all the things in order to make it realistic
Yeah.
and remember
Mhm.
what she said.
Yeah.
I thought, of course, like you have said, that Nat is just
Mhm.
such a heart of gold
Mhm.
type of guy. I really wasn't expecting him to die. I was
Yeah.
really shocked with him. But yeah, I'm like, oh, poor guy. He got a really good role here. He had a really well developed character.
Mhm.
And I had read somewhere that Michonne had acted with him in something else.
I
And
think it was
so,
that Richard the Third play she did. I
yes, that
think is what
sounds
I
about
read. I
right.
believe I read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did work together before.
Yeah. So they knew how each other worked. And so
Mhm.
it was really kind of nice to see them probably, you know, reunite in this again.
Mhm.
So he was a good guy. Now it makes me look forward to seeing him in something else because he was
Mhm.
such a good character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was a pyro and and he had, and I thought it was interesting that he had that lighter that said
Mhm.
danger, which was his stepdad's name,
Yeah.
or that he called him that. I don't know, but
That was his when he said that was his name because he said, "Imagine that,"
yeah.
because I think because of all the things he did and dangerous and yeah.
I'm wondering if that lighter will play a part later because they do show Michonne with it.
Yeah. Well, and it has his name it has his name etched on it, so
Yeah.
and the another thing that the actor said, he thought that was symbolic. He thought that Nate was the one who kept her fire going, and then his lighters now passed on to her to continue, kind of be with her.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really he said it was poetically beautiful or something like that, and
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I like that a lot." So it could just be symbolic, but we'll see.
I just loved how much he cared for her.
Yeah.
And at the end, when he was taking his last breaths and she goes over to him, he says, "Is it still him?
Yes.
Can you tell?"
Yeah.
I thought
I
that
know.
was
Like, what an insightful question to ask.
so foreshadowing. I don't like it.
I know.
I thought it was so good and so caring. And of course she says, yes, yes, but then it
Mhm.
makes me worried. I'm like, why is he
Yeah.
saying that?
Yep. What's this about?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, which that goes right into Michonne and Rick's reunion that we saw at the end of last episode. And here we pick up here. So, what did you
Mhm.
think of
It
their
was
reunion or their time together?
Well, it was, like I said, I was more emotional this time and I knew it was coming. I was waiting as she was, especially like you got to see more what she was doing. She was taking off those masks, looking those people in the eye, and then, get offing them like, you killed all my friends.
Yes.
Guess what? So I loved how they made that work. Like, cause it's like, why would she take Rick's helmet? You know what I mean? Like kind of
Yeah.
thing, so
Yeah.
I love how they made that work with the story. And I love that she was able to do that. And then, it was so good to see so much passion between them, either in this scene and then later on too, because again, I mentioned that about the little dream sequence where we got to see the flirty and the courting and the, all this. So we've never gotten to see that part of a relationship with them just because of the world they live in. So it was really neat to see so much passion between them, and so I really loved that. And I loved how Rick was just able to think on his feet because, Rick sometimes has to mull things over before he gets to where he needs to be kind of thing. So he was like, do this, do this, do this, do this. I love that he was just had this plan. He hears the helicopter coming. We got to do this now. There's no, he puts her katana in Nat's hand. He does, all these things to make it look like, this other thing happened. But then I'm like, I kept really struggling with why she didn't tell him about RJ. And I'm like, he asks you about Judith and you just, whatever. And I guess it'll play out eventually why, but I guess because she had to keep him in the right mind, because if she told him right then, he probably would have just broke down and he couldn't have kept his composure. So
yeah,
I suppose that's why. I don't know, but I was I don't know why. So I was freaking out about that.
Me too. So their emotional reunion. Yes. Oh my gosh. And she says, I found you. And yeah, kill. And
waiting to hear that.
I counted, and I don't have it here in front of me, but I counted how many times they kiss. And I'm like, that's a lot of kissing. I like it.
This is where all the Bridgerton, because they used Bridgerton. I'm like, this is where all the Bridgerton information came into play.
It was so good, though. It was really good. I was like, oh my God, they keep kissing and kissing and kissing and kissing and kissing. But I love that, that he says, I'm not with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asks about Judith, because if he didn't ask about Judith right near the front, that would have been like, you would have been, why aren't you asking about her? So he had to ask about her, and he had to say, I'm not with them, just so you know. And so I thought those were really important things to say to her. And then when he starts telling her what she needs to do, and she's like, what? Because initially I'm like, run. The both of you just run, go. And the fact that he's all, oh no, it's too late. I don't know. It settled in a little bit of a panic for me. So, because we know that they don't let you leave. And I'm thinking, well, you're going to put her in that position too? Can't she just run off and now that you both know you're alive? I don't know. Something about it bothered me that and I'm sure it was for the best reasons. I know Rick wants the best for her and everything, but just something in me was just a little bit like, what's happening? And I think it's because maybe Rick is fearful. He's fearful of them. And so I don't know. He's trying to play it safe so that she doesn't get hurt or something. I'm not really sure, but I have to say that I did have this inkling of worry of him allowing them to take her and holding that gun to the back of her head, even though he said, I love you. Yeah. I promise. And this and that. I'm like, oh, I don't like this.
No, I do not like that.
Something's not sitting right. And then we just had, Nate say what he said. I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I was just a tiny bit worried for Michonne in this situation. But I'm like, okay, it's Rick. He's going to take care of her. He's going to take care of her. And I know he will. And I know he's doing what's best for her. But I was a little bit worried, I have to say. I was just a little bit. But yeah, you had mentioned, he was just so quick to tell her, don't call them walkers, because that's what I call them. Don't act like you're a leader, because then they'll know you're an A. So yeah, I loved how quick it was with that. And then their second meeting, more kissing. And it was so funny. I said to myself, she's going to get pregnant. Just because there's so much kissing, passionate kissing going on. But yeah, it was cool to see them together. I thought, ooh, they're just sneaking in. And she even had that coy little smile to her face. So I thought that was cool. But I did wonder why she didn't tell them about RJ too.
Mhm.
And so I thought, well, maybe it's just not the right moment. But when she better tell, and then you want her to tell him, because then you're like, what if there's not an opportunity,
Yeah.
like something happens and then he doesn't know? That'll just kill me. He has to know.
Mhm.
So, they kept it for a reason. I don't know what
Yeah.
their reason is, but
Yeah.
kept it for a reason. Side note, with all that kissing that was happening, my son has sat and joined us in watching this. And he says, does he have a wife in real life? Andrew Lincoln. And I said, yeah. He's all, oh, okay. I just thought it was so funny because I'm thinking he's probably thinking, what does his wife think? Right. With all this kissing going on. So I just,
It's my job, honey.
he thought there was a lot of kissing going on. But yeah, so yeah, it was good. It was good to see them again together. I want to get your take on this actually. What do you think her thoughts are when she leaves, both of them in that area and she goes up on that, climbs up and it's a good visual on what's happening? Because I'm like looking, like, what are we looking at? I mean, I know it looks very official, very military, but I'm wondering, what is she thinking about that?
Yeah, I was just I guess to me it's probably just like maybe that's the first time she realizes how big and what their military is capable of. When Rick would she said, "Can we take that?" I don't know what she said, and he's like, "No." Like she asked.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because
Yeah.
I felt like the dynamic there was different between them too.
Mm-hmm. It
Because
is.
to me, Michonne was like how she normally is, right? Like
That's what
that was what you expect. Rick was the one who was different in
Mhm.
how he responded.
Yeah.
But he's lived there and his
Mhm.
hand is gone. Oh, and that's the other thing.
Yeah, she
It's
said that.
revealed. Yeah. Cause she feels that his hand is missing.
Mhm.
And that he says, oh, that was one of the last times that
Yes, the look on her face,
yeah, she's all the
like she felt
last
like she
time.
gave up, like, "What? So yeah, like, almost like she's like, "Is he with them?" kinda thing, that look, I don't know, just the dynamic has changed, of course, they've been apart for a very long
Yeah,
time, they've both
yeah,
been through a lot, especially I mean, like, she's been
yeah,
through a ton, but I mean, his
yeah. His is different, I
is
think.
very different, not that it's any
Yeah.
better or worse, it's just very different, but I feel like when she was looking out there, she maybe got kind of understood what Rick was saying. Like they couldn't, there's no way you're taking this group, that not our little group, not us as
Yeah.
the two, that's never going to happen. So I feel like she was just kind of assessing it all, trying to see why Rick is saying what he is. And then when she sees that, it's like, oh, wait a minute. There's a reason he said this. This
Yeah.
is well organized and it's unlike anything they've seen these little communities before that they've
Right.
been involved in, that they can say
Absolutely.
or whatever. So,
Because it did look like a regular military base
yeah,
with
they're very,
everything
yeah.
that was there.
Well, and this, the CRM, the soldiers there, they want to be there because if I think they can choose between going into the city or they can do the military, once they do their 6 years. And so they can go through the training, but those people want to be there. They're like people who enlist in the military. They want to be in the military. They want to, and they listen to Beale, they respect Beale, and they obey him. It's not like this ragtag army. This is a legitimate military group they're ruthless and they're brutal. And, Beale expects to be listened to and obeyed,
Yeah.
so this is much different than anything they've experienced. So I think it was probably eye-opening for her to look out and see like, oh my gosh, this is like a real thing. This isn't just like
Yeah.
3 helicopters, it's, huge.
So I was also wondering because she almost looked like I don't really understand where the newcomers are at in relationship but they are in the military, so they are on the outside, correct? Because the city would be different and it would look
Yeah.
different. So, okay. I had to
Yeah.
think
It's
about
like
that for a
I feel
second.
like those calling facilities are along the edges, the perimeter, because there's several
Yeah.
of them. And then the military's in that area too, or somehow,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
because even in
True.
World Beyond, they had the one culling facility, and the one guy was in charge of it. He was in the military. He was a military man who had been put in charge of that facility. So they would kind of, the vehicles would be driving in and out and things like that. So it's, I think the military, that's the separation, I guess, is there with them, and then they can go into the city.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So let's head into Jadis and Rick's interaction.
So yeah, as soon as I saw someone watching Michonne's intake video, I was like,
yeah,
Jadis.
Yes, I knew it too.
Who else is watching this? And so it was like, God dang it. Like, you forgot about her, but you didn't forget about her, kind of thing. It was like, Jadis. So I love like how she's just, being Jadis, just sitting there waiting on Rick when he gets to his house. Sorry for breaking in. No, you're not. You're drinking his whiskey. You're not even a little bit. Sorry. But I love the things she said, because it's crazy to me, her loyalty to the CRM and how she is loyal and she listens, she takes orders from Beale. But we also know Jadis is always looking out for number one, always, because that woman will flip quicker than anything if it benefits her,
Yeah.
So it was just interesting to know that her and Rick have some secrets with her loyalty. Like she's hiding things from them somehow, whatever it is exactly. We don't know. We know that she says Michonne, which doesn't fall under our long-standing deal, and it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? And then she's like, let's continue to keep certain things between you and me as we have. So somewhere along the line, she hasn't given, obviously she came with him, but she must have just made it out to be like, I found this guy or something.
Right.
Not like, we're not in the community together. We're not, whatever. Yeah. So she's holding that over his head, and it's just going to be crazy to see where this goes.
Jadis. Yeah, it was perfect, actually. It was actually very, very perfect for her to come in right at this point and drop her F-bomb.
Yeah, I love. Jeez.
Oh, what are you doing, Rick? I have to say that when she says that to them and they're standing there face to face, okay, for a tiny hair of a second, I thought that he might like lean in and kiss her. Oh. Not because he wanted to, but like he was expected to, or I don't know. I'm like, I would never want that. If I would hate it, but I almost feel like she has a power over him. And remember how she was eyeing him on The Walking Dead in front of Michonne? I'm thinking, does she get what she wants here? I'm like, please don't. And they didn't. I'm like, I don't want that, because that would just kill me. That would like, no. And Michonne would be all, no, too. Oh my God. That would be just,
it would be horrible.
That would be horrible. So, God. But I'm like, why are they facing each other so close? Why are they standing so close to each other? And it just ended right there. And I'm like, thank goodness. Okay. Hopefully.
If it is happening, we didn't have to see it.
If it does happen, they're going to show it to us. So
I know I'm
just hoping that it's not.
Yeah, it was just a power thing. It was just a power struggle. I had to.
Yeah, seriously, I really hope so, because I think that would just ruin a lot of stuff.
It would,
I don't want to see that. But yeah, so it was, and thinking back how Jadis was in The Walking Dead, was that all such an act? Her whole personality and living with those people for so long? It's kind of crazy in a way.
Yeah, she's got something off or something, because she was always, that their broken language they spoke, and just all that stuff, how she was. And then as soon as they're dead, she stops and she's Anne again, and then she's it's like, what the heck, man? She like a light switch, and okay, now I'm Anne again, and I talk normal. But but I wrote one of my articles. I said that Jadis is known for changing her hairstyles as often as she flips sides, because just whenever she something's going wrong or somebody gives her a better deal, that's where I'm at now. So it'll be interesting to see what she does in this show.
Yeah, it will be. All right. Renee, we are at our segment and the award goes to. So I would love to know, what was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
You're gonna be surprised, but of course it's Nat. I loved when he told Michonne that she can still believe that Rick is out there while also going home to her family, and that that's not failing. To give her that reassurance that your children need you. Yes, you want to find Rick, but it's not working. And the CRM is bombing us with gas, and they're killing all our friends. And there's a lot going on for two people to handle, And so then she needed to hear that, obviously, because she was gonna head back until the helicopter thing. She was ready to do that. So I just again loved that he told her that, to let her know it's okay.
Well, I love him as this new character in this episode, and I love that he's watching out for her. But also, I'm like, don't listen to him. But, that's when she breaks down and she is going back to Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
But then here we go, right? Then, fate takes its course and Rick lands right there in front of her. So it was like, no, don't leave yet.
Yeah,
don't wait. Surprise for you. We got a surprise for you. But, I have to go with Michonne as my favorite person character. And I really actually like that moment where she shot into those walkers and they blew up like that, just because I love that she can be that badass self and also be so emotional, so vulnerable, and just this great person. So I just love her. I love Michonne. This just, reaffirmed how I feel about her. And so, she's just the coolest character and I love her. So, all right. So what are you hoping to see in the next episode? Do you have any thoughts or predictions?
Well, I think they released some new images, and they're not a lot, of course. They don't give you too much, more than what you've seen in the trailer for the episode. But we're going to see lots of Rick, Michonne, and Jadis in some fashion. I think that, maybe Jadis and they'll have a confrontation. I would think, I just have a feeling, she'll just be like, I know what's going on, kind of thing. And just a reminder that, that she's not in, that Michonne, Jadis, remind Michonne she's not in charge, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm excited to see too, in the trailer, we hear Thorne is not buying the story.
Yeah.
And then she talks with Michonne. So I can't wait to see that, because that could be very interesting. So I don't know what else. I mean, I think, it's going to be a lot of, I don't know what else is going to happen. But I just, which is good. But I am worried about Rick and Michonne, though. I really am, like you were saying. And even I was trying to think of how I need to look back at the official synopsis that was initially released, because it says some things in there, like, I don't remember the wording, but about, can they still be together? Things have changed them. They're different people, blah, blah, things to that nature. It's like, why did they say all that? And then we see how different things are. And it's like, what are
I'm dying, Renee, as you're talking. I'm dying, just so you know.
It's horrible. I don't want to think about it. But anyway, I've thought about it. It's there. Now you have to think about it. Sorry.
I know. I know. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I know.
And you know how love stories go sometimes.
Yep.
So it's not good. Gosh. Come on. Oh my gosh. Don't kill us. You can't. Anyway, so I am looking forward to Thorne and Michonne too, although I think, because they're not similar, but they're similar, in how strong they are as women. That will be interesting to see. But I think in a way they can be allies too. So.
Yeah.
And the fact that, well, I don't know this, but from what I can see in the trailer, I feel like Rick trusts Thorne to a certain extent. So, so we'll see. So he might divulge, who Michonne is or, because she's smart too. And she knows, she knows another smart woman when she sees her.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what'll happen with Jadis. We'll have to see that.
She's a loose cannon. Yeah.
I don't know. They're planning to get away. That's all I want. It's just, and for her to tell them about RJ. But I hope through this, no matter what they learn, what she learns about Rick and what he's done. Rick! But he's had to survive this somehow. And I mean, he doesn't have a hand, for God's sake. He has no hand. And it wasn't a walker, right? That did
Yeah.
that. So it's like, he's trying to do everything he can to survive, and he's been so low. So I really hope that they can survive this together and get back home. So, all right. Well, it was a great episode. It was great learning about where Michonne has been, and now they're back together, and we've only got 4 more episodes left. So it is going to, tell a lot of story in the next 4 episodes. Okay. That is a wrap up of episode 2. So come back for episode 3. All right. I would love to know, Renee, if you have any TV or movie recommendations.
Well, I know I watched something new and I can't for the life of me remember it was. And I keep thinking I need to just put these in my notes on my phone because I do this every time. But I did start rewatching Wednesday on Netflix because it's so cute. And I just was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to watch that again. And I've already picked up things I've missed the first time. So it's been fun rewatching that. And then the movie Yesterday just came out on Netflix. Have you watched that before?
I haven't seen it.
I'm not sure how you say his name. It's Patel. It's Himesh. So I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he plays this kind of struggling musician, Jack, who there's an accident, kind of a freak accident thing. And when I think the power goes out, I think is what it is. When it comes back on, he's the only one that remembers the Beatles. So he starts playing.
I remember the premise of this.
That's not giving anything away. That's like And so it's all Beatles music, and it's just a fun story. Lily James is in it.
Oh, I love her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really fun how he just starts introducing the world to the Beatles, and they're clueless. I mean, like he'll do Google searches, and it's like, nope, nothing.
Wow.
No one knows anything, and so it's really fun to see how it all plays out, and all the surviving Beatle and their widows and whatever, they've all watched it and approved of it and loved it and that kind of stuff, And so, it's
liked it.
I really do. Yeah. I'd watched it previously also, but then it just came back out on Netflix. And so I'm like, oh, I got to see it. And so, so I recommend it. It's very good.
I have to watch that now. That it was on something else, so I think I don't know if it's HBO or something. I've seen it a couple times and I didn't watch it. I will have to look for that. Every time I watch a movie now or a TV show, I put it in my phone. I put it in my notes or I go to Letterboxd. So movies go in Letterboxd and I have a ongoing each month that I watch because I thought I watch so much that sometimes I can't even remember the things that I watched. But I've told you or shared with you that I watch a lot of reality shows. So that has kept me really busy because there's a lot of hours in there. The Voice is on, American Idol's on, Survivor started. And so I'm watching all of those and just keeping up. Love is Blind dropped some more episodes. But one reality TV show that I really loved the first season of, and I happened to see it Friday night that it had come out a couple days beforehand. I thought, oh my God, I love the show. And that is Family Stallone season 2. This is on Paramount Plus. Sylvester Stallone, his wife, and his 3 daughters. I love them. I love them. And I binged it all. Their episodes are only like under 30 minutes, like 23, 25 minutes. And I love it because one, I do love Sylvester Stallone. I always have. I watch his movies, but to see him as this father and this husband is just so funny. And, he's so famous and they have to deal with him being so famous a lot of times. And let me just tell you, his 3 daughters, they are gorgeous. They are gorgeous, but I feel like they're really good daughters in that they do a lot of family stuff together. They support. So Sylvester has his brother Frank, and Frank's always with them all over the place. And not to give too much away, and not that it really matters, but they have to support the daughters have to support Frank and like housing him or putting them on their podcast because their dad says, "Oh, have your," because he adores his brother. Have your uncle on and put your uncle up. And they're like, "Oh, Dad, really? I got to do this." And also boyfriends. Oh my gosh. Sylvester Stallone is hard on any men that come around, just like you would imagine, his characters to be. That's how Sylvester Stallone is. So these girls, and he arms them with making them take self-defense classes
Of
or
course.
all kinds of stuff. And so they are, and that's what I love about them. I feel like they have really values instilled in them
Mhm.
because of their family. So
Mhm.
I really appreciate seeing them. So I would recommend anyone to see Family Stallone. It's just
Mhm.
really light. It's just a light
Yeah.
reality show. And then Resident Alien season 3, I think began a week or 2 weeks ago. And so I'm continuing to watch that. I just think it's funny. Have you ever seen this?
It's funny because I've seen previews now and I'm like, why haven't I watched this before? Because it looks really good.
Yes. It's so for anyone who doesn't know, the first season was a couple of years ago, so I have to
Mhm.
remember. And the first season is hilarious. In fact, I'm still watching it and I still like it, but the first season was like so funny
Mhm.
because he is an alien that comes to Earth and inhabits a doctor's body.
Mhm.
And he learns to do things that he doesn't understand. Like he learns how to cook and that you have to eat and they have to take a bath and he has to be a doctor. And so he's thrust into these experiences that he has to be a doctor, but he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. And it's just so funny. And I think he watches Law and Order, if I remember correctly, and he learns a lot of things through Law and Order. It's so funny. It's really funny. The actor he's so good and he's hilarious. He gives the greatest faces and it's just a really good show. So if you're looking for a really light, funny show, then watch Resident Alien. I already reminded you that the Oscars is this Sunday, but for movies, I went and watched Dune 2, and in preparation, I rewatched Dune 1 because it's been 3 years since I
Yeah.
saw it. So I rewatched the first one so I could understand who everybody was. And because I don't even remember the first movie. I
Mhm.
may have seen it back in the 80s. I don't know. And I didn't read the books, but I really did want to watch this. So we went and watched it, me, my husband, and one of my sons and his girlfriend. So Dune 2 was really good. Timothy Chalamet is in it and Rebecca Ferguson and Austin Butler is
Mhm.
introduced in part 2. And wow, he plays the villain and he's
Mhm.
really good at it. So, and Zendaya, of course,
Mhm.
is in it. And also Florence Pugh is in
Mhm.
it
Oh,
also.
yeah.
And so many people like not even naming everybody. There's so many great actors in this. So I highly recommend it. It is long, 2 hour, 45 minutes, I think on each part. So, but you can watch part 1 on Max.
Okay.
Have you read the books or anything or?
No, I have not. And I don't even know if I ever watched the original movie.
I will say the second part 2 is much more meat
Mm.
to what's happening. I feel like part 1 is really setting everything up and it was good to watch though. And I went and read what you need to know in order to watch part 2 and I uh read it and it was easier for me to absorb going back and rewatching one because when they say people's names, the houses, and you're like, who is that? Because it's names that are not familiar to you.
Yeah.
And so there's all these names, words, and houses that you're not familiar with. So I had to and understand where they're at, the planets and what that planet is known for. So when it comes to all of that, I have to really grasp it in order for me to understand what is going on. So, and it was good for me. So anyway, I would recommend Dune 1 and Dune Part 2. All right. Anything else, Renee? Are we good?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Okay. Well, friends out there, if you have any TV or movie recommendations, we would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us on social media. And we also have a Google voicemail, and that is 669-223-8542. And that is in our show notes. Thank you, Renee, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, please share Undead Walking, your writings. I
Oh,
want to make sure people know about that.
yeah. So if you, I write about The Walking Dead and anything that goes on in that universe with either the series themselves or even, other projects the actors are in and things. So I try to cover lots of different avenues in that area. So it's undeadwalking.com. Very easy to find. So
Yeah.
check us out.
Yes. And we have her link in the show notes. So please be sure to check out Renee's link because her articles are so informative. And I think you just put out an article on one of the actors. He's in something, The Last of Us, right? And
Danny Ramirez, who is, he's in a lot of things, but he was in one of the Tales of the Walking Dead episodes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so, he was just cast for Last of Us season 2. So
yeah. So see, check that out. All right. Friends out there, thanks for tuning in. We are grateful you joined us today, and we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to our website at screensinfocus.com. And why not share this podcast with a friend, because we would love more members of our TV club. You can find our website link in the show notes. And remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.